Good evening, good folks, and welcome to the City of Muskegon City Commission work session for this Monday, April 7th, 2025. Let's see, our clerk's working on
Sorry.
No worries, we're getting our text situated. These microphones are working really well tonight.
Really are hot.
Could take a deep breath and make it.
Apologize for that.
Are we good to go?
Yes.
Oh, all right then. So this meeting is called to order. Our first item of business is parking enforcement management system, and being led out by public safety. Will you kindly introduce yourself, sir?
Tim Colesel, Public Safety Director, City of Muskegon.
Good evening and welcome. So what do you got for us tonight?
Oh, just like to have a conversation with the commission on our parking enforcement that we are currently doing and what we're looking to do in the future, and try to get some thoughts and some conversation with you on that. If you had time, we had put some information in front of you on the packet about the current system that we have, which is through Passport. Just to give you a little background, we currently have two different components to our parking system. We have Flowbird, which is our kiosk that we have down there that people can go up to and type in their information and pay for their passes. And then they get their pass and they go and put it on their car, so they can show that they have that, or else they can purchase it here. Then we have Passport, we have a contract with, and it expires this July. Passport is a system that allows us to be able to recoup the money for the tickets, if there is tickets that are issued for parking violations. Okay? One of the things that we noticed is that our current contract with them, they were recouping 25% of all of the fines. And so we felt that that was a little bit steep, so we decided to look into new systems. With the implementation, the updating of our system as far as our cell service out there at the beach, it allows us, which we've had conversations in the past about looking at some LPR system, a license plate reader system out there for parking. So we started looking at a couple different systems. One of the systems that we looked at was T2 systems. Let's see here. As you can see on the slide, T2 systems, our initial upfront costs is going to be around 22 grand. The biggest portion of that is going to be for the data transfer between the two. We did also put in there to show you those estimated costs that we had with Passport, which is pretty significant over the last 3 years. Working with our system with, as you can see, for a 3-year cost for T2, there'd be even less than the 1-year cost we have for just Passport. We did meet with them just recently, last week, correct? Today. Another conversation with them today about the costs and the contracts, to see where they're at with that, because we want to make certain that we're giving these companies the best effort to present something to us. So one of the big things that we have encountered also with Passport is the customer service. It's been very, at weeks at a time that we're trying to get customer service with them to get issues resolved, and it hasn't been very good. One of the biggest things we're looking at is we want to be able to have our officers, when they're down at the beach, have a handheld license plate reader system, an LPR system with them while they're taking enforcement or checking cars. This system will allow them to be able to look at a plate, and it'll be able to tell them if that person does have a parking pass. So it's right there at their fingertips. We have had issues since I've been here where people have purchased, it's slid down, we just, when they're purchasing there on site, or somebody that has had it and somehow it's got misplaced. This will overcome that because we'll be able to see that they already have that parking pass. This will, in the future, probably next summer, get to a point where we might not need to have those stickers. We might not need to be able to do that. Our citizens will be able to just go online or even come in here and be able to get their car and their name associated with that into the system. We're looking for that, whatever company we decide to go for. We also, with this new system with T2, they're able to tell us if the person's been cited in the past also, which is also helpful for us. Okay. Biggest thing, am I missing anything on the data?
No, both packages, the two system does include the new handheld at that price.
Where you're gonna be paying a monthly fee through Passport to have those handhelds. Currently, the only fees that would be over and above for T2, that right there is if they're trying to recoup for arrears, people that are not paying their fines. Currently through Passport, it's 72 cents per letter or that gets sent to these violators that haven't paid. They do it a couple times. We're trying to work on some different avenues to try to hold people responsible over and above those letters. With T2, it's $1 per person or entity or house that's in violation. They're the only over and above costs. I'll take any questions.
Nice, thank you, Chief. So, in a nutshell, we're looking at a better system, more user-friendly system, better support, saving us money or allowing us to keep more of the fines that would be collected or that are charged, and getting us supporting our desire to add that digital parking pass system through your license plate at our beaches.
Correct, and I've neglected to tell you that the system's also, you could have an app on your phone. If you traveled, if you're going to the bigger cities, that's how you have to pay for your parking, is you have to put that app on your phone. We're gonna have that also for our citizens and our visitors to be able to purchase through their app too. So it's another, I think, convenience. All the, you'll ask me like, well, why are the fees so much different? Is that, of course, with a lot of things nowadays, the fees are passed on to the user. So a lot of these, I just wanna make certain everybody's aware of. So if they're purchasing, there'll be that fee that's passed on to them and not to us. Outside of it's free still for our residents, they won't have to pay any fee for it if they do that on the app, come in here, or go online.
Okay, I do have an additional question, but I'm going to open it to the commission and circle back. Commissioners, any other questions or comments at this time? Commissioner Kilgo.
Thank you. So a couple of questions. I want to start with what you were just talking about. So if I'm a non-resident and I want to buy a day pass for a Saturday through the app that will eventually be available, about how much fee, because we've raised our rates and we've all probably heard from constituents and non-constituents about our rate increases, how much on top of that daily fee would I pay if I was a non-resident paying for a pass on the app?
Honestly, it's a 3% credit card fee.
Okay.
If they want to come in and pay cash, it wouldn't be any fee, correct?
That's correct.
It's only that credit card fee.
Which is also Passport at this time.
So they pay the same thing at the kiosks? Okay. Okay. And then kind of on topic, but not on topic. These citations will be handed out by our parking enforcement. We have a couple parking enforcement people that not only do Pure Marquette, but they do citywide parking enforcement, correct?
Correct, they're more dedicated to the beach during the summer.
How are parking citations disputed? So if someone for some reason got a citation and they don't feel that they were in violation of whatever, how would they go about disputing that citation?
They come into our city and they dispute it, and then they would be heard over at the magistrates over at the county. Would be a date set in the future.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like switching from passport to T2, to me, it looks pretty cut and dry how much money we're going to be saving by switching. So I don't have any further questions.
I'm going to do a quick piggyback that's also tangential, but I'm just very curious with regard to, if you were to appeal a fine that's charged to you and you get a court date or a magistrate to review, because the fine goes up, after 2 weeks and then goes up again, is it advisable that the person pays it, goes to the magistrate, and then we'd refund them if they prevail? Or they contest it. If they prevail, they don't pay. But if they don't prevail, they'll have to pay the higher one if it's beyond 2 weeks?
Try to dissect that question. You have to contest it within a certain period of time. That once it goes up to those second and third levels, there's no now.
So it won't continue if you've contested it. Okay.
Correct, right.
Then
Yes.
that's what I was looking for. So thank you.
Once you contest it, you go to court, you're set.
Okay. Okay.
To be heard.
It
And that's
stops the
within that.
clock.
Correct,
Okay. Cool.
correct.
Thank you. Sorry for that aside. Commissioner Toko, did you have any follow up?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Cochin.
Thank you. Director Kozel, so I appreciate you guys working on this and trying to find something. I have a couple of questions here for you. The first being, how about the folks who are at the beach whose phones do not work?
You would still be able to do it at the kiosk.
Okay. Have we resolved the issue with the kiosks being as slow as they've been in the past?
Comparative 2024 to 2023, the amount of complaints that we had were reduced to very, very minimal.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think I heard from the deck at all last year.
No.
Okay.
Because those are the majority, because of the issues that they would hear when, people would come in to eat. Oh my gosh, the kiosk, I didn't hear hardly anything. Our update, our cell service helped tremendously.
Tremendously. Okay,
Yes.
excellent. I'm happy to hear that. The next question is, you were talking about the cost for the new system, and you said the bulk of it is about 22,000 for data transfer, and that's not all of it, right?
No, if you looked at yearly fee is 10,764. That balance between that would be for that data transfer and the initial purchase of the handhelds.
Okay. Are those handhelds for us to keep? Yes. Okay. And will they work on other systems or only on the T2?
Do not know that
Okay.
answer.
I spent some time looking up this organization and some reviews for their mobile pay system. I found very few, but the ones I did find were fairly in line, saying that it was easy to use. It helped law enforcement professionals specifically. The only negative complaint that I was seeing was a lack of flexibility. There was one person who rated it a 1 star, stating that it hurt handicapped individuals because of the lack of flexibility to change the time frames. Have you guys looked into that at all?
Time frame is as far as,
As far as the parking time frame, so like they said that 4 hours was the example that they gave, and I'm not sure what they were doing, but they said that that was not an adequate amount of time for them. And I saw on here, at least in the packet, where it said that there's options to extend the time. Is that the case?
I think it's the service agreement. I think what you're thinking about as far as time, that would be different. We
Yeah.
don't have where people can come up and do a 4 hour parking. You're asking for a beach pass for the day.
Right.
or
That's what I was
for
thinking.
the season. So that time, which I think they're referencing in probably as a number one, is not what we're reflective of what we're doing.
Right. Yeah, I didn't think so, but I just wanted to confirm
Yes.
that that was the case.
Yes.
And then you said that both of them are paying a 3% fee no matter what, right? Like passport and T2.
Correct.
So we're already paying that 3% fee if we're using our credit cards. So that's not anything new.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cochin. Any other questions or comments, commissioners?
Nobody else? I got one more.
All right. Commissioner Cochin.
Okay. Sorry to bother you, but also the T2 presentation that was in the packet had mentioned the ability to support multiple languages. Did we look into how people can access those languages? Does it start out in English? Does it start out in Spanish? Like, do we know how that route works?
I have not looked into that, but I can.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Manager.
And just for staff's perspective, are there any other type of services, amenities, whatever, from a mobile pay system that you were thinking would be nice that is not included here? Because this isn't on tomorrow's agenda. We've got a little bit of time if there was any feedback. And obviously, as the chief said, this current contract doesn't expire until July. So we've got a little bit of time to think about it. We just kind of wanted to talk through and before we went too far down the road, and then it was like, wait.
So I see that there's the opportunity to provide promotional messaging through the app. And I think that could be a great opportunity for us to like link to our park rules, and so that people are aware. And also, if possible, perhaps if it's park rules as well as like weather conditions or tying into our beach safety system, so they have that information as they're paying for their parking. I do have a question, but commissioners, do you have any other questions or thoughts to share right now? So I love that this is moving us, the convenience and the cost savings and whatnot, or at least the revenue retention. But I really love that it's moving us towards our ultimate goal of having that digital-based system for our parking, paid parking. Since we're going to be, this year having that hybrid of both, the physical pass that you can go through the kiosk and, buy that slip and then exchange it if you were buying a seasonal one, or just use that slip for the day, while also having the opportunity to do it through the app. Do you envision, is staff envisioning that we will maybe next year be digital only, or we're always going to have that physical? And then how does that tie into our residents? So next year, maybe I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but I'm just wondering in terms of like, next year will residents have the opportunity to input their license plate on a website, or they'll have to get in the app and they'll just know that a way for our residents to get that free parking?
To me, I think we're gonna get to a point where residents will be able to just go in there and have that now in our system for 2026, have the beach parking pass for the year assigned to that plate, to that car.
Okay. So we'll sort that out, and that'll save a lot of staff time.
Things that we've been talking about internally, but I come with a little bit of heavy of a lift is, and I know that I've had these conversations with the city manager, is LPRs on cars. So you can just go through the lot and check. Come with a little bit of a price tag to it. I think we were quoted almost 6 digits to get that going. I felt that was a little bit heavy of a lift
You can't just hold your arm out?
per vehicle. So that
Yeah,
would take
that's
some
a little
time to
pricey,
recoup that. However, that would also cut down on our time of our parking officers,
Staffing,
which
yeah.
be putting a lot of miles on their Converse canvas high tops, while they're walking around there. There's some things we're looking for in the future.
Okay, nice. So with those handhelds, do they operate similar to the one that would be in the vehicle, that you could just have it continuously, or do you have to like activate it for each vehicle, or could you like walk up, just walk up along the vehicles and you're just scanning as you go? I guess it doesn't really matter if you pull it or it's just continuous. But
I would imagine.
now I'm just thinking out loud.
Would imagine it's
Conscious
just
of
per
thoughts.
vehicle.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I would imagine it's just per vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We can get them. What are those? They don't have them anymore. So much I don't see them. Segways. I was like, we can give them.
Oh,
Get on segways. I'm like, have them going up and down. All right. Well, thank you so much to you and your team for working on this and bringing forward an improved offering.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we are going to be discussing community organization gatherings at the Muskegon Farmers Market, and that's going to be coming from our city clerk's office. And who's reporting out on this? Our city clerk?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, with the help of Renee Hessling here too. So Last summer, fall, it came up about, we've always had a policy at the farmer's market that anybody who, wants to hand out brochures or get petitions signed or anything like that, that they were allowed to be on the sidewalk, but not inside the market. And since then, we've met with our city attorneys. We actually met down there at the market, and they have reviewed it and evaluated it and recommended some changes. And those changes you see right here. And that is that we allow in the open area between the food trucks and where the picnic tables are, in that open area, that we allow up to 3 community groups that could be there. They can bring a 4-foot table, they can have a tent. They do have to sign up ahead of time. That is important to know. And that they would be allowed 3 times to go there 3 times a year. Now, this does include like Salvation Army, who gets the, what's the organization that collects too? The poppies and the, yeah.
The Newsies?
Yes, yeah, they come usually every week.
Oh, American Legion, yeah. Oh, yeah, American Legion.
They do normally come every week, and we did talk about that. And I was reading this application, it doesn't quite state that, but we did talk about that if nobody else applied that week and they came, that we could allow them to join even if they'd already done 3. That is something that we could consider, that the commission could consider. But it's to, very sensitive about freedom of speech, and we want that to happen, but we also don't want people walking through, where the vendors are and, and disrupt. People are there to buy their fresh fruits and vegetables, and, they don't want to, necessarily be stopped by a lot of people wanting to give out items. But that area right there, that's a spot that, at least 90% of the market people will be going through that area.
Cross traffic, yeah.
Yes, it's a very popular area right there. So we thought that that this could be a good solution, but they do have to sign up ahead of time. They can't just come, unless we want to. I guess they could show up that day, and if nobody else signed up, then they could fill this out and still possibly be on there. And we do have them starting at 8:45 so the market manager would be the one to place them, to take them outside and show them exactly where to place up. So they couldn't just show up and set up. They would have to work with the market manager and staff. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Commissioners, any questions or comments? This is on our agenda tomorrow for formal review and adoption. Tonight's our preliminary review and discussion. Any questions or comments on this? Commissioner Cochin.
Yes, thank you. So you kind of answered my first question, which was what was driving this. So I wanted to kind of ask also, why have we not allowed this in the past?
Well, we had a letter from the city attorney's office for several years that said that the farmers market property is a different kind of, it's of use. It's a specific purpose, and that is to sell fruits and vegetables. So it's different. It's differentiated from a public park. So we have always stuck to that and gone by the rules that we understood them to be. But as things have been challenged, and there's been some court cases since then. Now they have reevaluated that. They still believe that this is for a specific purpose and it's not exactly like a public park, because again, it is for a farmer's market there to buy fresh produce. But that we should make some changes to try and accommodate some, having some.
Okay.
But you would not be able to use a megaphone or anything either. I should mention that. But again, that's a disruption. We have music playing. It really takes away from the market.
Right. So people wouldn't be able to bring their own music, correct?
No.
Okay.
No.
The other question I had was, is there a fee to do that then?
No,
Or is
no
it
fee.
no fee? You just have to sign up in advance. Okay. And the thing that I'm kind of wondering about my mind is this going to hinder the space that it's available for the citizens, or change the atmosphere of the farmers market?
Well, that's what we're trying to stop. We don't want to change the atmosphere. We love the atmosphere of the farmers market. And so we're trying not to let that happen. And we're hoping that this will be the happy medium, so that everybody can come and enjoy themselves, and yet organizations can be there and collect donations for those organizations. That is mostly what we have, but sometimes we do have people who are wanting petitions signed. We do run into that occasionally. And if so, they could have it their own, they could bring their own table and they could sit there and they could also do that within the market, but it would be in that designated area.
Okay. And just for confirmation, we're not hindering who can use that space. It's just whoever asks to use that space and signs up in advance, correct?
It's community organizations or nonprofits, including churches, public schools, public charities, public clinics and hospitals, amateur sports organizations, political organizations, legal aid societies, volunteer services organizations, labor unions, professional associations, research institutes, museums, and some governmental agencies. So I feel like that's pretty much covers.
Pretty encompassing, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Manager, you have something to add?
Nope.
You're good?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
Commissioner Kilgo.
Thank you. Will it be at your discretion or someone from the farmer's market discretion if an organization comes and we gave you a chance, but you were disruptive to the farmer's market to deny future applications?
That is an excellent point, and I think that is something that we should add to this application. I think that is an excellent point.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
In that vein, I would suggest, if an organization or whomever is availing themselves of this opportunity and they are being disruptive or violating, the rules, giving them that warning of that you're violating this, and that if this were to continue, you're subject to no longer having that opportunity this season. So it's not necessarily permanent, but no longer this season. So that could be a way to handle it. That's just a suggestion to consider.
Yes, thank you.
And also it could be referred to the Farmers Market Advisory Committee.
Good point.
If you were multiple violations, like, well, now we're referring you to the advisory committee, and they will decide whether or not you could come back this season, or you'll just have to wait.
This is not an application that we did take to the advisory board, just to let you know, just because this was a recommendation from our city attorney, so we felt it should come to the city commission, and we did bypass that. I don't think they would be really excited about having this, to be honest, but it's above that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments, commissioners?
Just a
Commissioner
comment.
Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I want to thank our clerk for heading this off, and I think it's good to have boundaries, and because there's a lot of protests, rallies, gatherings out there during this time, and the country's in a spiral. So people are upset, and they want to voice their opinions, and as you stated, value the freedom of speech, which in this way you have your boundaries and you don't violate that, and you're able to do that in a manner where we have some guidelines in place. Yep. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Commissioner German. Commissioner Gorman.
I just have some technical questions. Should we specify applications, I don't know, being received by noon 5 days before? Because I just don't want, I anticipate like seasons where there will be high demand to be there. And so I don't know, I just think it's important to. And then how much in advance will the applicants know, like, yes, you are on for Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday? I don't know if that needs to be here. Just setting expectations of have it in by noon
Great
if
idea.
you're gonna
Yep.
get picked. And then just again on this, I'm not saying, I don't know if this is the final document, but just providing mission and or vision statement, organizational values and goals, and why do you wish, and what stage, like just the one line. I'm sure this is gonna be a form or more space on the form.
Mission statement.
It's
and
all there. It's
goals.
just all in one. So
Oh, got you. Yeah, we probably need a little bit more space than that.
That's
I
all.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Now I get you. Okay.
Yeah.
Or you can say attach it. They
Yeah.
could.
or
Yes,
yeah, attach.
attach.
Yeah, which I think is great.
Yes.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gorman. All right. So historically, we've allowed folks to use the terrace. The farmers market has accommodated folks that did want to come and, set up a table or pass out information or collect signatures or whatnot, and our staff would accommodate them along the terrace just outside of the market. So that kind of the free speech was being exercised in that capacity.
Yes.
So what is the distinction? That key distinction between it happening on the perimeter of the farm to market versus it must happen. It doesn't even sound like it must. It's just
Yes.
we're it's more of a just in case or just being extra careful and now allowing it or potentially allowing it in the center of the farmers market.
My understanding is because the sidewalk is just outside the farmer's market, and there's so many people that wanted to be inside the market, and from the city attorneys and court cases that they have seen, they recommended that we have a space that was available for such activities as this. It could have been a booth, allowing that, but we really didn't want to give up our booth space for that. So it was a lot of conversation back and forth, and two city attorneys with us actually to have this, but this is what they suggested was the best alternative.
Okay, and we'll see how it goes. I was going to say, how what are your expectations in terms of how onerous it might be on staff, to administer. But we'll see how it goes, and if we need to, make adjustments, we can do so in the future. I do appreciate this, and from a accommodating of our public and supporting and embracing free speech itself, I think it is preferable to be inside within a reasonable area that's not going to disrupt the overall activities and vibe of the market by still accommodating them. So I do think this is an improvement, and that terrace is still available, separately. But I appreciate your work and your team's work on moving this forward and creating a new opportunity. And I think it's particularly helpful for some of those nonprofits that have asked, well, can't we have a booth? Can't we have a, just for the day we want to, share information, or we want to have a donation drive or something, but we couldn't accommodate them with the booth. But now here's an opportunity to do so inside the market. So I think that it's a nice improvement. Thank you.
I didn't know if Renee had anything to add, since she's the one that's there every Saturday and gets to see all the comments.
Yes, Ms. Hesselink, if you
Just add one thing.
kindly step up and introduce yourself.
Renee Hesselink, and I'm part of the market staff. You will see food-related nonprofits in the market, so that could be a distinction, because we quite often have like MSU Extension, they're doing food safety, or related to the kids program. We have the library or the art museum come and do activities, so we didn't want to disrupt that either. So we will see, organizations like that, but they're going to be right with the kids program. Senior Power Produce, we occasionally have things like that happening too. So, so you will see some food-related nonprofits that may take up some space once in a while.
Yeah, good reminder. We certainly don't want to force either the kids' power produce or the senior power produce away or into a confined area. I know that the senior power produce is very well attended, and those lines will wrap around, and we need a lot of those booths to dispense those tokens. Yeah, and that directly goes to supporting the farmers market, so that really makes sense to provide that space. Thank you. Vice Mayor St. Clair.
Just to clarify, we will still allow people to use the terrace if, say,
Oh, absolutely.
4 people apply and the 4th one wants to come anyway.
Yes.
They
yes.
can
They
just
can
not be
absolutely
within the market.
On the terrace, it is a public.
Okay.
We just ask that they don't prohibit people from walking by, and being able to have access to the farmers market. But yes,
Okay.
my only other
Please don't
question
damage our terrace.
is like if the some organizations that are doing the collection that typically in the past have come every Saturday. If nobody else has applied and they show up on Saturday, would you be okay with us allowing them in, or do you want to just set that hard 3 times and that's it?
My initial impulse to when you asked about, if no one showed up, like potentially allowing them to fill out and do that day. My initial impulse was to allow the terrace, to make the terrace available to them, just because that,
Absolutely.
if you're, and I'm thinking of staff and the putting that on staff of now having to review that application that day of, and like what materials might have, and like it's such a busy, hectic time at the farmers market, and our staff's pulled a lot of different ways. So I'm not super keen on adding that day of application to it, but still making that terrace available.
Absolutely.
That'd be my initial reaction or inclination. But commissioners, your thoughts?
I would agree.
I would agree.
I also like the equity and opportunity that this brings.
Yes.
There have been a handful of groups who have been allowed in the market
Yes.
for reasons that might not be clear to everyone. So I think that there's a lot of value in having some structure, and that will also encourage other opportunities.
Excellent. Any other final thoughts or questions, commissioners? All right. Well, thank you. This will be on our agenda tomorrow. With, I think you're going to make some
I'm gonna make a
tweaks
few
based
changes
on
here,
what you've heard tonight.
I'll have it in front of you, yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Fantastic.
All right, commissioners, before we adjourn, I just want to raise, not necessarily for discussion right now, but it is on our agenda for tomorrow. And as you may have seen with regard to the parking rules, park rules, not parking rules, sorry, the park rules, the matter was referred back to our Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee, and the committee decided to stick with its original recommendation. We can unpack that tomorrow and the discussion that they had around that. But what I wanted to bring to your attention tonight is the prospect of, and that's what's brought forward with that recommendation tomorrow, is to adopt the rules inclusive of the no smoking or vaping in our parks, period. That's the existing recommendation. What I want to bring to your attention tonight for consideration and reflection on overnight before this comes to us tomorrow is the prospect of a so-called compromise whereby there would be a no smoking or vaping within 100 feet, so geographic radius of play areas and pavilions and the like where people congregate versus a blanket ban of no smoking, vaping in the entirety of the park system, but rather, not having that activity within 100 feet of those play areas and pavilions and the like. So something just to think about, reflect on, so that we can have that. I don't want to spring that on you tomorrow. I wanted to give you time to think about it and reflect on it overnight, and we can discuss that tomorrow. So, question, Commissioner Kogo?
Yeah, more of a short comment. I appreciate you bringing that forward, Mr. Mayor, because although the Parks and Recs Advisory Committee doesn't want something, the same commission that's sitting here tonight was here on February 25th at our commission meeting, and we voted. It didn't pass. It didn't have enough votes to pass, but the same exact thing is on the agenda tomorrow. So I appreciate you at least bringing a compromise to the table, because with the same exact thing coming back, it's like, let's just take something that didn't pass at a commission meeting, and then the same exact thing come back 2 weeks, 3 weeks later or something. So I appreciate you bringing a compromise. We can speak more about it tomorrow, but I just wanted to say thank you for bringing that up.
For sure. And I can unpack tomorrow their thought process as to why they were sent back the same recommendation. Any other questions? Not discussion right now, but any other questions right now on that? Okay. Then we are going to adjourn. May I have a... Oh, I'm sorry, public comment. I don't have any forms, so I got lost. No forms to speak. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to give comment? All right, we're going to go to the phones. That number is 231-724-6721. This is general public comment, an opportunity for folks to phone in and give up to 3 minutes of remarks to share with the commission. It is not a time for back and forth conversation or Q&A. It is a time for you to give your thoughts and input directly to the city commission.
Oh, Mayor, we have a call.
Yes. Hello, you're with the City Commission at our work session.
Hi, my name is Eleanor Cantor, and I live in the NIMS neighborhood.
Good evening and welcome. You have up to 3 minutes to provide your remarks.
Thank you. Today I learned from the mayor that 1. The city has no intention of restoring access at Cruzy Park. 2. That the city understands that the boardwalk at Pier Marquette is inaccessible. And 3. That no options for access that a disabled person can use independently will be provided. I have explained that the boardwalk at Pier Marquette cannot be made accessible because it is literally made of garbage, and that it presents a clear and present danger to disabled people trying to use it. I've provided video evidence that it is impassable for wheelchair users. And I am asked again and again to provide more information about how the city can achieve access without changing anything. Now, all I want from the commission at this point is for you all to be honest about what you've done. You have turned our once public beach into a business that collects huge sums of money through paid parking, and you've decided that not only is improved accessibility not going to be considered, but also that the level of access disabled citizens have enjoyed since the 1970s will not be maintained. The Commission has decided to actively decrease accessibility in our community while the city's parks budget is bursting with public funds. I don't want to hear about Moby Mat or track chairs. I don't want to hear any more about solutions that require people with disabilities to be accompanied by a non-disabled person in order to access our public spaces. I just want the Commission to admit that it has betrayed its disabled residents and that we are not valued members of this community. And lastly, please do not allow the mayor to laugh this off and gaslight me after I've been disconnected. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cantor. Appreciate you phoning in your comments. Any other phone calls?
No, Mayor.
All right. Commissioners, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Support.
We have a motion by Commissioner German, supported by Commissioner Kilgo. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you. Take care and be well.
We have